I tell you what I did watch, and I see why you kept asking me if I saw that one and why you were so adamant about if I saw that episode. Dexter. Wow. That was a
Yeah,
seriously intense episode.
it was good, right?
Yes. But like the emotion of the episode, it was a roller coaster. Like that car ride between Dexter and Batista.
Oh my God. See, I wanted Dexter to just be like, listen, Deb's the one that killed LaGuardia because not to like confess to him,
Mm.
but at least to just tell him, look, there's something. Yes, I have been hiding something, and you're not the only one that LaGuardia told that to, and then like make up something about what, like, well, maybe not make it up, but kind of use the truth, like she was gonna attack me and Deb saw it and she killed her. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of what I hate Batista being against him, and you
Right.
could see it. You could see it in the car when they were talking like that. He gave him like this look when he was talking about like his family, when Dexter was talking about his family to stay away from him and especially his son. The look on Batista's face was like, there was stuff, but it was also like he could see that he actually does care about people, but at the same time, it's like, it's like that nostalgia of someone you knew and the version of them that you knew and liked, and then discovering that this person is like way darker. And so, like, it's kind of mixed with that. And I mean, that would make so much sense because, I mean, how long did he know Batista for? Dexter for? Like 30 years, something like that?
Yeah.
So, I forget exactly how many years, but yeah.
I don't remember. Does he think that Dexter killed LaGuardia?
Yes. Yes, he now thinks that Dexter killed her and made it look like the cartel or whatever killed her.
Okay.
Yeah. So he, because she told him that she thought that Dexter was the Bay Harbor butcher. So now and then the other woman, she called him and said that, and he's like, nah, it can't be two people who don't know each other saying the same, you know what I mean, all these years apart, and she didn't even, I mean...
He thought he was good the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I think he thinks... Oh, go ahead.
No, this is going to say I really love the continuation.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I've said several times, the original series, I didn't dislike it, but I wasn't a fan like you were.
Uh-huh.
I have not seen all the episodes from the original series.
Oh, you better get on a rewatch. Or actually, for you, it would be mostly first watch, because you watched a lot of them with me.
No, I saw a lot of it, but I didn't see all of them.
Yeah.
And I think there's certain seasons that I saw less of.
Okay, yeah.
But when the second show came out, again, I didn't watch it from beginning to end. Again, I was just seeing little pieces from when you watched it. So I didn't really understand what they were doing. But it's funny. As soon as I saw the prequel, it made everything else make sense to me. They capture the mood of whatever stage Dexter is in so beautifully. It shapes how the season goes.
Right.
And now that they've moved on to different shows, it actually shapes how the show is.
Right.
Like the feel is so different. And I love how they amped it up for Resurrection.
Right.
All these walls of his are kind of coming down. and he's feeling so exposed.
Right.
But at the same time, I think he likes it.
Yeah, you can see that.
I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or not, though.
Yeah, it's you know, it was a little concerning for me, like when he was practicing on like how he was going to be read when he went to the party, because I'm like, yeah, he's a little too excited to be hanging around these killers, you know what I mean? And like Harry's talking to him, and he's like, it's almost like you get a glimpse of like young teenage Dexter there, where he's like, get off my back, Dad. You know, like, let me have fun, you know. And so I was a little, you know, I was a little like, okay, come on, Dex, you know these people aren't going to be like that. And of course, you know, you see the Dexter, I think that, you know, most fans love, which is like, he sees them as monsters, and he's like, these people gotta go. You know, these people are innocent people. Nah, that's not gonna fly. You know.
You know, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that keeps getting me with Dexter, because I feel like the obvious, which is he wouldn't be that way if Harry hadn't stepped in at the time that he did and the way that he did it. I mean, he put that code in his head so much that the code lives as a physical representation of his father.
Yes. That's a perfect way to put it.
I think if Harry hadn't gotten to him, I think he would be, first off, he would not have a code. And I think he may possibly be one of the worst serial killers without that. Because I don't think he would have a preference. And I think he would be very brutal.
Right. Yeah. Kind of like Lady Vengeance was, where she's like, yeah, you know, most of the ones I killed were like this, but I don't really care. I just like to kill people.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing for him would have just been the hunt itself.
Yeah. And I love how they've done the cast. I mean, having, you know, Uma, Peter, Kristen, you know, like all these people, Neil, there's like all these different people, and they're all doing so well, and they fit the style so well.
Dude from Modern Family, I'm surprised he's the last one.
Well, he would be, because Dexter has that obsession with someone who can balance being a killer and having a family. Because he feels like he wants to learn, like, how do you keep that balance? Even though Harrison knows who he is and what he does and everything, I think he's still looking for that kind of role model. You know, like, he still wants that kind of like, how do I do this perfectly? How do I look normal to other people? Which is so funny to me, because like, that's one of the things that he talks about a lot. But honestly, I think what makes Dexter so relatable to people, I mean, obviously we're not killers or anything like that, but he's so relatable to people because that's how most people are. We're trying to, you know, make sure that we socialize correctly when we have to socialize. You know what I mean? And it's not so much of like being fake or putting on a mask or anything like that, but just, you know, understanding social cues and respecting boundaries and all of these things that people have to kind of understand and navigate just because we live in society and there's other people that exist, you know?
Right.
And so I feel like he's actually pretty normal, but then, you know, the idea that it's practiced, but I think he more or less kind of acts the same way, like with Harrison. And even though those moments when it seems like he feels like, oh, well, I just don't get that because I don't have that kind of emotional response.
Mm.
I kind of think most people are the same way without having to be, like, without being, having some, like, sort of personality disorder or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm. I like the fact in the classroom that he didn't lie to Harrison.
Yeah.
Like I like that. What she said was right, but at the same time, I know what I feel.
Right.
And I know what I feel for you.
Exactly.
Like that. Honestly, I think that was a great explanation. And the fact that it happened in the moment, not sometime afterwards, was really important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I think they needed that moment, and Harrison needed that moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's very important because I think they both connect on that feeling of they feel like they don't really have anybody. At least Dexter, he got to grow up with a loving father, loving sister, that at least they liked him. He worked hard for that, but they did like him. So all of these things where he gets along with people. And like at the beginning of the season, you could see Harrison kind of doing that before he killed that, piece of crap dude.
Mm.
But he was doing, he's the smiley guy. He's friends with the one dude. He's friends with the other lady and babysits her kid. And you know what I mean? Like he was just very personable and charming. And it's very similar to like the way that Dexter would go in to, Miami Metro PD and have the donuts and, hey, how you doing? This person and this person. You know what I mean? I like the parallels there. But, Harrison is different. He doesn't have and didn't have the same guidance that Dexter got to have. So, like, now having this relationship is really important, I think, to both of them because Dexter's lost everybody that cared about him to that extent, his family. And so, yeah, it's cute. It's so cute. I love that they get along,
Right. I can't believe that Dexter is not thinking, though.
How so?
Whenever it seems like...
The slides?
Say it again?
The slides? The slides?
Well, the slides are one thing. I couldn't believe he just left them on the table like
that. Right.
It's the fact that whenever he starts to get into this found a kindred spirit thing with another serial killer, he stops noticing things he would have noticed any other time. So why would he have Batista in his car? But if he was just trying to play it cool, why wouldn't he think Batista would put something in the car?
Yeah. See, that's the thing with precision and control, I think, because they showed that in, season 9? In New Blood? They showed it there when Harrison comes back and like kind of the mistakes that Dexter was making and stuff, and also just him being like out of even before like being out of practice, because it's not an environment he's totally familiar with. The thing with Harry, it was almost like, it was like training. It was like military almost. He knew the environment. He knew the people. He knew how the procedures went in Metro PD. He knew how to do these things and keep control of the situation. He knew the locations. He knew the areas. He knew how everything worked, how people work. he didn't, there, and he was making mistakes. And it's kind of the same thing here, is that he has distractions and he's in a new environment. So he hasn't set up his modification, I guess you might say. And he's actually not even thinking about that. Like the fact that he told Harrison about the 9 pieces, it doesn't occur to him, you know what? Bay Harbor Butcher's supposed to be dead. We all know that serial killers generally have a particular pattern, and that the best, at least in the FBI or any kind of PD or whatever, can tell the difference between a copycat and the original.
Right.
So you would think that he would say, like, maybe cut the body up into 10 parts or 11 parts. You know what I mean? Like, at least switch to burning them. I mean, not that he could do much. That would be very weird for him to just be, like, out on the harbor, and it would be probably too easy to find the bodies out there in New York. Though people might attribute it to being the mafia. But I think this is too much going on there to go unnoticed, doing something like that. So what he's doing is pretty good. The only thing about that, though, that I don't like is if someone does happen to find this place, like perhaps Batista, who is now tracking him and might follow him, there's bags in there and the body parts. He's not grinding them up, and then take that out to the water. You know what I mean? Or put it in a dump somewhere. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because if anybody finds that place, they're going to find a piece of bone. They're going to find something. They're going to see those bags. Maybe the whole body is not burned up. So he's really not being as thorough as he used to be. And that is like, I'm like, dude, come on. You got to get it back together completely. Come on, Dex. You're our dude.
But I mean, really, he's spun too far out of control now. At least for this situation.
Yeah, I think the thing with Batista, because it's control. He likes to have control of his workspace. It's like, like anybody who gets into, you're in the flow, you're in the rhythm of your work, you like things to be a certain way, and if something throws you out of that, then all of a sudden you're like, what's going on? What am I doing? And so it's kind of the same thing. And he is making, like, I think interesting choices, like when he killed the first Gemini killer. When he kills him, I think you had mentioned this before when we were talking about it, that he didn't, change him out of his clothes. He left him in his clothes, and it was kind of like, because clothes, I mean, DNA, any of that stuff, just because he's burning it doesn't mean that something can't fit. And then he almost gets caught by the landlord. People of that family, by the way, they're amazing. I love them. It's so cool because, well, this is sidetrack, but it's so cool because it's so, you see how much he enjoys being around them, even though he keeps saying, they're not really like, they're not like me and all this stuff, but I think he really enjoys the love and the camaraderie there, because he doesn't have to engage with them as much as he does. They already like him. You know what I mean? So it's really not necessary for him to kind of be involved with them to the extent, but it's nice.
It's weird to me that he's involved with them, period, because they have to keep to themselves people.
Which is probably better, actually. I don't know if he's thinking this or if they have, if that's part of that storyline of why he's doing that, but it's probably better that he is more, into hanging with them to a certain extent, at least, and that he does like them, because especially, I forget her name, the one woman, she did the whole background check on him and everything. And he's like, what? And I'm like, Dex, how do you not know about background checks? I know you tell people you weren't a cop, but your sister was a cop, your daddy was a cop,
Right.
you know, all your colleagues were cops. Come on now, you know about background checks.
I mean, you work in law enforcement.
Right, you know. But he was surprised about the background checks, but I guess he's probably surprised because most people don't do it. Like, in the context, at least, of the show and that world, it wasn't such a common thing. That is true, especially like back when the show originally aired, it wasn't as common for people to just be able to like go and get a background check on somebody so easy.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, because if he was a little less friendly, I'm sure she would be out. She would be in his apartment. But I'm scared now
Right.
because we were just talking about him with the blood slides. He went up there to that party, and then he left with Batista. He didn't go back to his apartment. He left those slides sitting on the table. If somebody comes down, because since they were having a party, little soiree and all that, if they decide, oh, I'm just going to take Dexter, you know, a nice little plate and, you know, put it in his apartment, a nice little surprise, how's he going to explain, what is this? What is this?
About those
you know,
those two shards.
Especially if they know anything, have ever heard anything about the Bay Harbor Butcher, because they know about the slides, I believe. Or did they leave the slides out of like newspapers and stuff like that? I can't remember.
That I don't know.
Yeah, and so
I'm
then
surprised that nobody would know that box was missing out of evidence.
Yeah. So, you know, but I think a lot of times those things, you know, I've heard about stuff like that before, like in real life, that it goes missing, it ends up on eBay, you know, after the case has been solved, and they don't know who put it there, and people buy stuff. I never bought anything like that.
I'm like, honestly, that's got to be illegal, and it should be prosecuted because that evidence needs to stay there. It needs to be untouched. Just because it was, especially those old cases. You know, somebody could have been convicted, and then DNA releases them.
Yeah.
And now the DNA's not going to release it because you sold the thing that had the DNA on it.
But I mean, in the context of the show, who's gonna find out? And even if they find out that Prater is the one that has it, he's like a multi-billionaire, right? What are they gonna do?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna find out he has it unless Dexter tells them.
Yeah. You were the one who was saying you think, and or maybe this is something I saw like on a forum, one of the two, and it makes so much sense that he's the Night Stalker, Prater.
The Night Stalker?
Yeah. The one that they keep talking about in the show, the serial killer that hasn't been caught, and he uses this hook to rip open the victims.
Oh, yeah. The New York Ripper.
Yeah, the New York Ripper. That's it. My bad. And yeah, I think it was something I was reading on a forum, and they made a really good point about like the location of the wounds, because it's like right at the stomach and everything. And also he has this thing like I don't know how his parents looked, you know, when they were killed in the crash. But certainly, you know, something about that kind of says that it would be Prater, you know, and especially to use like something potentially that's like a very long, a long device for extra reach, you know. He is so good in this role, man. He's so good.
Yeah. He definitely made the role his.
Like,
That story
absolutely.
you told, that was
That was wild, yeah.
I
Like,
knew he was gonna turn out to be sick, but it was like, wow.
right? That you became closer to the dude that killed your parents than you were to you. What? Are you kidding me? But he makes it so believable. Like, I don't even see, dude, like, I drink and I know things. Like,
Mm.
all it is this dude. And, like, the way he talks to Uma's character, the way he talks to Charlie, I'm like, dude, who was she talking to? He told her, he was like, I pay you to do what I tell you to do. I was like, who? I was like, bruh. And then I was like, right, because he's her boss. It's like, he'd probably have her killed if she didn't do it.
Uh-huh.
Like, just the way that he said it, And I was just, because, you hear that kind of thing a lot, like, sometimes, and it's like, oh, yeah, well, you pay people to do what you need them to do. But, yeah, just the way he said it, I was like, and I felt like she, for a moment, whatever training that she has, was about to be like, excuse me? Who are you talking to?
Right.
And she'd take it back to him like she did that one guy in the parking lot.
I'm wondering if she's gonna pursue this thing of not believing.
Dexter?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Gemini tried to kill him.
Right. I hope so, because she doesn't like any of them.
Mm.
And my feeling is she's gonna like a dude who kills killers. Like, just because of how disgusted she was when she found Red's trophies. Like, she's like, ugh, you disgusting creep. You know what I mean? So then she's probably gonna be like, wow, like, you kill these people? Okay. Or she's just gonna be like, it's my job, I gotta get rid of you. I don't know which one. But yeah. I wonder if he is the New York Ripper, if Prater is the New York Ripper, I wonder if she knows. Because he seems to be doing a very good job of, like, making it like a secret identity.
Mm-hmm.
If it is him. Like, oh no, I could never do what you do.
Yeah. Huh. Honestly, I didn't realize that they had talked about him more than once.
Yeah, they've talked about him a couple times, and just the fact that they haven't shown anyone, it even though Prater keeps saying, like, he doesn't kill and he's never done anything like that, I mean, it would stand to reason that he might be lying, but he would never tell them, especially, too, because blackmail.
Mm-hmm.
If any of them tried to blackmail him, if any of them, like, oh, he tells them he's a killer too, and so then all of a sudden they're wearing like a little, device or something at parties, because they might not want to blackmail all the rest of them, but he's a billionaire.
Right. Who apparently has some very large reach.
Mm-hmm. For real. I like that interview that he did. It was kind of like very Barbara Walters,
Which interview?
where he was sitting there eating, watching it, but she was asking him, like, about his life and all of that stuff. It was a smaller part of one of the episodes. That was after Lady Vengeance had gotten caught, I think. And
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They showed the beginning of the interview earlier in the episode.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and talk about, like, design. One of the things I really love is, like, the title sequences. Like, I've always loved the, like, music of Dexter and stuff like that. And the title sequence, oh my God, the mosquito and the eggs and bacon or the eggs to breakfast, and the shoelaces, all of that, so very like murderous for like regular everyday activities. But this fits so well. This fits like his transformation, this fits the things that he's gone through, and the location, of course. It fits it so well, and it just looks so good. Like
the feel, the emotion.
Yeah.
I like the end.
Mhm.
I like the last scene and how it transitions into the credits.
Yeah.
And then how they do the credits.
Mhm.
It's such a departure from the show, while at the same time it matches perfectly.
Yes. Yeah, I sit there.
Very well.
Yeah, I sit there. I watch them. I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, they really. This is one of the best comebacks ever. I feel like of a series of anything like this. And I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to bring out Michael C. Hall. He's gonna have to do this until he's 90. Okay, we are not letting Dexter go. Okay, do you understand? Huh?
Hugh Jackman, that man.
Yes. Okay. Yes. He's Wolverine forever. Michael Z. Hall is Dexter forever. He can do other things. We love him in a good, bad guy role. We love him in the different shows and movies, but he's got to do Dexter forever. Like, ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Like, that's it. And Dexter never dies. That has to be, like, in the contract. Like, it doesn't matter if you think he's dead, he's not dead, okay? Let's get that out of the way. Dexter don't die. That's it.
The serial killer.
Yes, okay, thank you. If we have to Freddy Krueger him, he comes back every time. That's what's gonna happen. Because like for so long, I was so disappointed. Not even just about like the end of New Blood that he got. First of all, I was like, he's not dead. I was like, cardinal rule: not the head, not dead. That's how it goes. If the head is still attached, there's something can happen. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, there's certain things where, like, if you're
OG Todd Manning. It's gone. Come back anyway.
Right? Todd Manning was a weird one. Yeah. That was like, okay, but she does soap opera roles. There's a bit different between like that and like the prime time, but still, yeah, totally. Todd Manning coming back was like one of the best, like classic kind of things for that. I'm glad they changed him because he was a scary dude at first. I mean, I wanted her to rip him to shreds. The way he was so arrogant and that frat boy stuff. Oh my god, I was just like. But then they did a really good job of like weirdly kind of redeeming him. I mean, for what he did. I mean,
that's the jury's still out on that one.
Yeah,
he redeemed himself.
Yeah.
He'll stay around for years antagonizing Marty.
I mean, yeah, but then didn't they end up? Because I didn't watch like all of it. There was like a little bit there I think that I missed, but they started working together at one point, right?
Yeah, the last time I saw it, I forgot who it was they were going against, but it was important enough to them to team up together, but they still didn't like each other.
Yeah, that was
kind of halfway apologized.
Yeah.
Does that really make a difference? I mean, you really did spend like the last 20 years antagonizing this woman.
Yeah, that was an arm's distance thing for me. It's like because it's mostly the actor. The actor I think was really charming, and they did do some good writing with the role. But like it always, was kind of like, yeah, but he's a great fit.
Right.
So it's but I mean, it's like it's fiction, But yeah, that was a tough one because I did like certain aspects of him, and they did a good job at certain points of making you forget about that. And I do think, like because of what else was going on, like you can forget for a second and then be like, oh yeah, right. But there were times when I think he was, because I remember this one scene where he was talking to Marty, and I think she was kind of forgiving him, and I think he was going, I can't fully remember it, but I think he was just going into how disgusted he was with who he was back then, like at that time, and that he kind of deserved every like harmful thing, and he wasn't really asking for forgiveness, and that he was really, he was an asshole, but that he understood at that point, like how ridiculous, just like how awful he was. So I mean, I guess that story wise is the point. I mean, I guess because sometimes with things like that, it's like you can't really put them as much into the context of how you might feel in real life. It's the same thing that I feel about Dexter. Like, to me, Dexter is perfect. Like, Dexter is like, I'm like, Dexter. Like, everything is right in the world now that Dexter is back. And honestly, I do feel that way. Like, I feel that way, like, because of how entertainment can affect people emotionally and stuff like that. Having a character like Dexter who stands up for people, who shows that at least in some way, at least fictionally in the world, there can be this kind of justice for people who can't defend themselves, for people who don't have the means, for people who aren't listened to in the system. And here's this person who has these capabilities. I love him as a character. In real life, I don't believe, I firmly do not believe a person like Dexter could exist in real life, because people, they're too volatile. You know what I mean? Especially if they do something like that. I don't think that any real life person could ever keep to such a code. I don't think
you wouldn't believe it anyway because you don't see it.
Huh?
You wouldn't believe it anyway because you don't see it.
What do you mean?
We watched CNN right now and heard about a Dexter-like killer, only killing serial killers. What proof do you have that he only killed serial killers? The bodies you found were serial killers, but you don't know he might have killed somebody else.
Right, and I did see something like that. There was a story about some guy, like he's in prison, like in I think South America or something like that, and they were saying he was Dexter-like. And so I was like, oh, really? Like, so what was Dexter like about him? I mean, he kills killers and stuff, but he's like a hired hand for like the cartel, and the guy has like a brutal temper. And I think he had killed his like father or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, that's not Dexter-like. This guy looks like if you say the wrong thing, you gonna regret it real quick. You might not have the time to regret it, because then there won't be anything after that. You know what I mean? Not for you. So I was like, no, because I don't think that a person could, like one person could have those types of skills, the skills that he has typically to get away with it for as long as he has. The caring that he has for other people, whether he says it or not. I don't think, someone who does something like that in like real life necessarily, maybe they could, but they wouldn't have the skills. And I think most people couldn't keep to that kind of code. They probably just feel like people who also get on their nerves, who are rude or something like that, I think maybe you could have two of those aspects, but not three. Like, I think you could have someone who's like really a caring, loving person who loves like good people, innocent people or whatever, and like only wants to kill bad people, and like maybe they can do it for a little bit, but I don't think that anybody would really have the skills to not get caught, for one thing. And yeah, like I said, I don't think that most people could have that kind of thing. Not to do it continuously anyway. You know what I mean? And I think also too, if a person is pretty caring, like genuinely caring, I think that even killing bad people after a while would get to them and mess them up, like mentally, make them feel away. You know what I mean? Like eventually, because there's collateral damage when you kill. Like even killing a killer, yes, you might have saved a lot of people, true, but you're probably if they have family, you know, people who didn't know what they did and stuff like that, the guy, you know, that takes the women's ponytails and stuff. He has a family, he has kids.
Right.
You know, they might not ever know that he's a serial killer, but to them, it's just he's just gone. So like most people would think of that, like, you know, and I'm glad they don't necessarily show stuff like that on the show, because I think that would weigh on a lot of people in terms of like if it was in real life, like now you have to think about their kids and, you know, the people that love them, and all these people lost someone and how that might shape them and all of this stuff. And I think most people who are in some way caring would probably then feel a responsibility to take care of those people in some way. Like, you know, like you see those things where they send them the secret money packages, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, I try not to think about it too much because, I mean, part of entertainment is it's like a what if, and, you know, we don't really have to think about the real life aspects of something like that. I mean, Dexter is just a nice escape in a world where you know that there's someone who's going to make sure that the scales are balanced. You know, and I think for me, I mean, like one of the reasons why I love the character so much and love the show so much is because like growing up being bullied, I mean, you know, you don't always have a lot of people to defend you, and you have to become like that person to defend yourself, and that's not always easy. You know, we've talked about it before, but you remember like some different things, and like I had to become that person, like to stand up for myself against people who were bullying me, and then sometimes I would have to stand up for other people who, you know, hadn't reached that stage yet, and you know, needed someone to stand up for them. And it's, you know, it's not always easy. And so seeing a character who is that kind of person, but in a more, I guess, extreme nature, because he's taking care of like the bullies, you know, these guys that kill innocent people, guys. And let's not be discriminatory, women, you know, the women too, you know, and not to Lady Vengeance and Lila. He got a type. And the dark ones, and the dark-haired ones, like he likes the blondes, he likes the dark-haired ones, you know. But yeah, you know, so, I mean, like getting rid of those kind of people, I mean, it's kind of like a nice catharsis, I think, you know, for something that you might not ever be able to see in real life, you know, at least there's somewhere where the scales are balanced.
I get what you're saying, but honestly, I still question it a bit.
Wait a minute.
I mean, Dexter has the code, right?
Yes.
That's what he keeps talking about, the code. When he sees somebody, killer get off, or he knows somebody's a killer or what have you, he goes after them. He's talking about them. Like the only time that I remember seeing him talk about their victims is when he put their faces up.
Yeah.
But the thing that I actually hear, the part that he's talking about, the part that he continuously talks about and is passionate about, is the kill part. It's like I kind of very rarely hear him talk about the victims. So I kind of feel like less of a, you know, a weapon. I feel more like he was a weapon that was pointed in the correct direction.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, they make
his
that
reasons aren't for that.
I think it is.
I don't see that as using it for the victims.
I think it is a little bit. I think because they've talked about that even in Original Sin. I think they pointed it out a bit. No, yeah, a little bit. I mean, but you know, like how he didn't know why, but seeing, you know, people do things to kids, like how that made him feel, like murdering, like people murdering children. It just made him enraged, you know, or harming kids. And they've talked about that before. Like the part of this is like the kind of, you know, holding on to that vengeance for what happened to his mother. I mean, he killed her killer already, but you know. Yeah, I think that he might not think as much about the victims. He doesn't necessarily like get to know them. But I think that would take away like too much time from his focus. You know, again, it's a control thing, and to have too many pieces in your environment, it can lose focus, especially if he gets emotionally attached. And that's the thing with Dexter that I think that you see sometimes. Excuse me. Is that he gets emotionally attached to people, even though it's something sometimes so wrong people. But when he does that, he loses focus for his mission. He loses, you know. So if he got too much into trying to figure out, like, getting to know the victim, plus it also leaves an opening for, and so it's probably part of Harry's training. Not that I remember them mentioning it, but then they would be able to ID him, you know. And you never know how people are going to react or feel. Like, just because you're, like, it's with Batista. Like, if he told Batista that he was the one who killed the dude who killed Batista, this was in Original Sin. If he told him that he was the one who killed the guy who killed the guy that Batista was after, you know, who had killed his friends and all of that stuff. I mean, you don't know how Batista would act. Like, most people, you think, oh, they'd be grateful. Like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like the woman from New Blood, like, she let him go. She was like, okay, we're even. You know, you killed the dude. Yeah, so, okay, we're even. But not everybody's going to react to it like that. Some people are just going to be very much like, the law is the law. You know, yes, I appreciate what you did, but the law is the law. You know. So, you know, you can't expect that even innocent victims or whatever, even if they're not in law enforcement, that they wouldn't feel like, you know, maybe I should turn this person in because they're still a killer. Because people think differently, you know.
You can't have to tell what people going to think.
Yeah. But I get your point, and I think he is focused on the kill. I think that's the part that he likes. I mean, and you're right, he is. I think they mentioned that before, that he's like a weapon that was pointed in the right direction. And it's kind of like almost akin to like a guard dog, you know, like doggies, right? Doggies, they're so cute. But like, if they're trained to defend, like, you don't just walk up to a canine and be like, oh, hi, cute doggy, let me touch you. No, you're going to lose a hand and maybe your face. Right. You know, so, yeah.
But he's unraveling a little bit this season. A little more than other seasons. Because, I mean, like I say, with the tattoo killer, he at least went through his whole procedure. With the exception of how he disposed of it. All the rest of them have been very sloppy. Yeah.
I think kind of what they're doing, what it makes me think of, is the idea of, it's like jazz, you know, because they're in New York. So he ends up having to do a lot more improvisation than he's had to do any other season, even New Blood. You know, he had to do some improvisation in New Blood, but it seems like with this, he's having to figure out things on the fly because, I mean, this is not only is it a totally new environment, it's the kind of thing where it's like there's not even a reference point for something like this.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you have a reference point for a billionaire is inviting a bunch of murderers to his house to have parties and dinner dates and stuff and show and tell? You know? So, and then like he's getting basically a smorgasbord. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think like in the shows, I mean, at least as I remember, it always seems like there's a little bit of time, you know, for him to get his next kill, you know, and he can focus on one here or one, you know, there's been times where it's been more than one, but like usually, you know, there's some space. He only has them in New York for a short amount of time. So he's got to figure out how to get rid of them, you know, how to kill them like fairly quickly before they all go back to, and I mean, I don't think he's going to be traveling to try and follow them to wherever it is that they're from.
But if he had done just a little bit of recon like he normally does, even a little bit, then he would have known that there were two Gemini killers.
Yeah, you said that part. Yeah. I think he was so eager. You know, I was surprised. I was actually surprised with that. Like, I thought he would at least like follow dude and make sure that he left the library before he took the book. You know, before he looked in there. Plus, I would have thought that he would have just like taken it. He kind of stood there with it and was looking at it.
Right.
Yeah, and I was a little bit like, But I think it's just that so much is on his mind with Harrison. You know, he's never had, and I mean, they showed that, I think, in New Blood, he's never had someone who really can't take care of himself, you know, that Dexter had to be responsible for. I mean, with Deb could handle herself, you know, got nothing to worry about with Deb, right? Like, by hook or by crook, she's going to figure it out, like, generally speaking, you know, before she died and everything. But, you know, so here, I mean, not only is he worried about someone who can't fully take care of themselves, you know, in a certain way, because they're just a kid, basically. And it's also his kids. So, I mean, he's definitely going to be even more worried, you know. So even when it's not in the forefront, I think it's still there for him. And he's still like, you know, worried about that. And that's taking away some of his energy. You know, whatever they do, 2 rules. Dexter doesn't get caught. Dexter doesn't die. Those 2 rules. And if he gets caught, they let him go. Like, that's it. There's 2 rules. I mean, he's the avenging angel, the Dark Avenger. That's what it is. The Dark Avenger. You know, he's gotta. He's Batman. Yeah, he's in Gotham City now, isn't he? And Gotham City is typically like it's New York, but it's not. But it is.
Same with Metropolis.
Yeah. So
I'm just hoping that family that he's renting from doesn't end up getting killed.
Yes. Like, when he went down there, I was so like, when the guy's name is the landlord's Blessing. When he went down there, I was the first time, and he almost caught Dexter in the thing. I was like, what's going to happen? I'm like, I don't know, because they already established, like, there's a little bit of a Dokes thing there, right? Because dude was telling him, like, his war story. You know, and that's kind of a similar thing that was with him and Dokes. Which, speaking of which, not side note, but switching topics here for a second. they need more jokes in the episodes. Can we get some more jokes? Also, Deb can come back. What I want to see, since they already established in the first episode that, you know, he saw all of the different ones, the different killers and jokes and his dad and everybody, like that maybe some of them can come back for different situations, you know, where maybe like different things that he's thinking, and also them being there with Harry. Like, I would love to see a sequence where it's like, it's Dexter, it's Harry, it's Dokes, and like maybe Harry and Dokes are trying to tell him one thing and Dexter's like, nah, I'm not doing that, or you know, or maybe Dokes and Harry have different ideas about things. And I personally like the idea of Dokes being more like, you know what, like, now that he's dead, you know what I mean? And being like, well, you know, actually what you're doing actually is pretty good. So here, let me help you. Don't forget to do this. Like, it would be so great for him to show up and like be in the seat, especially since Batista was the one who was like, surprise, hermano. And instead of like, surprise, motherfucker, it was surprise, hermano. So like, maybe Dokes showing up in the seat next to Dexter and being like, you didn't notice this tracker, huh? You know,
right?
Maybe like not directly right away, but like, you know, that would be kind of interesting, like to have Dokes have his back in a way, and like kind of it switching between Dokes and Harry, or having them both there, you know, that I think would be very interesting. I think that it would be interesting if it was done based on the intensity of what was going on, and also like how that particular person fits the situation. But yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. But yes, I hope the family doesn't die. And if they do find out that they protect him, I mean, because he saved them. Can you imagine? His blessing probably would have been next as a your car driver.
Yeah, they probably would have got us.
That's the thing that I don't get with anyone, like especially like Batista's explanation. It's like, what you can say that maybe like some of what he did harmed other people, but that wasn't Dexter. Like for Rita, he doesn't know the story. What harms Rita was Dexter not doing what he normally does, because he did kill Trinity right away, and he should have. But because he waited, because he wanted this connection and to have this role model and everything, that cost Rita her life. If he had just gone straight and stuck to the mission, she would still be alive. Be a totally different show, you know.
Yeah, this guy was the first one with the family, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one I remember the most. And he was just making very stupid decisions. Because of who was playing her, I was actually surprised they killed her off like that.
Rita? Yeah, you know, I should have seen it, you know, but I kind of like in watching it, I didn't really. I think I might have like thought, oh, she's gonna die, but I don't know. I didn't feel like there were a lot of hints towards that. You know, it became obvious. I mean, it already happened, but it became more obvious, I think, when I did the rewatch, when I did that article. I loved doing that article. It was so much fun, like going into the deep dive of the symbolism of the characters and what they represented, and the colors and all of that stuff. That was so much fun. But like her being, oh yeah, thank you. But yeah, her being like the you know, that Mother Mary figure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and just the whole idea of purity, like, you know, once you have like that kind of purity is I don't know if sullied is the right word, but when it's changed, then that's when all hell breaks loose, you know. And I mean, I guess sometimes that's a typical thing, story-wise, for a character like Dexter, is they can't have the old style story. Oh, they can't have happy ending. I call BS on that. I'm like, new days, new era. They can have the happy ending if they want to, okay? Like, they can have all of the good stuff because he's not a bad guy. I will dispute that. I will argue that forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
He does make bad decisions.
He, like anybody does, but he's not a bad guy.
But he makes bad decisions based off of the worst part of him. Got it. He keeps trying to form these kinships with serial killers.
Right.
And it's like I'm watching it this season and I just keep thinking, you know, every time he does this, and then it finally kind of bounced into my head, I'm like, you're trying to form a relationship with your food. That's
good. You're trying to form a relationship with your food. Don't play with your food. You eat it. That's right. Great. I did say that they were like a smorgasbord for him, right? That's funny. You're trying to form a kinship with your food.
I mean, you think about it. He keeps seeing himself. He keeps seeing these people in him. Mm-hmm. Because he thinks there's a connection there. Mm-hmm. The connection that he keeps seeing, it's realistically there. Mm-hmm. But because Harry put that code in him so deeply, there's no possible way for it to connect without him completely ripping that out of his DNA.
Right.
Like that's like the realization of what I said earlier, that Harry put it in him so deeply. That's the representation he keeps talking to. Mm-hmm. He's talking to the code.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
So it's like that's why he ends up making all of these mistakes, because every time he tries to feel that kinship, that code was put there to stop that from happening to begin with.
Right, it's a safeguard.
Right. Mm-hmm. So it kind of cuts him off. So since he's not following the code, he's not thinking. Mm-hmm. Now, if he stuck to all the teachings of the code, then he wouldn't have too much of an issue. Mm-hmm. Because he is like Black Ops level with what he does.
Yeah.
But it's like if he's not going to pay attention to what he's doing, then he's just an average schmo. Mm-hmm. Because he's making like really stupid rookie mistakes.
Right.
You know, he figured out what his son did. He goes through and finds the blood splatter so that cop didn't find it. Something no one else would have thought to look for. Yeah, he's sitting there just killing with just a big piece of plastic. Nothing to stop the blood splatter. Nothing about the fact that he had the dude's phone sitting on his rug. Uh-huh. I mean, you don't know how many fibers have now gotten into that phone.
Yeah.
To prove that phone was in the house.
Right. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that in the clothes too. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, that's one of the reasons is that you don't have the clothes, because there can be, you know, especially if you're using a knife, because they have, I forget exactly what it's called, but typically, like, if you stab someone, or you stab something, like you have a knife, there's I forget the kind of cut it's called, but it's like usually a very small cut that a person can get, like a reflective wound or something like that, from the act of stabbing. Now, I would assume that he doesn't have, like, he knows how, but, you know, you never know. You never know. So, like, to have the clothes, I feel like the clothes would be more possibility of evidence. It's just more evidence. Because even if he has to, like, burn those clothes, a button could be left behind, a piece of fabric, threads, and they'll find, like, either DNA on it, or they'll find out where the person, like, got the shirt from, and then, like, when they arrived in New York and surveillance, you know what I mean? 'Cause I feel like in this day and age, if they want to, if they really want to find a killer, I feel like it's impossible. You listen to enough of these crime shows, watch enough, like, Law and Order and all of these things, it's impossible. And especially, like, all the evidence that we have now, pretty soon they're just going to have, like, straight up Minority Report where they can just, like, see the future or read the past and see exactly, like, what happened. You know what I mean? So, like, right, you know? And there was one thing I watched a long time ago. I don't remember what it was. I think it was a show, but I remember the detective, she said to, like, someone that she knew was the killer or something like that. But she was like, you know, a killer has to be, I think it might have been a podcast. Anyway, whatever. What's important is what she said. And she said that a killer has to be perfect, right? She can make mistakes as a detective, but a killer has to be completely perfect because it only takes one mistake from them for her to be able to find them. You know, for her to be able to find them and get enough evidence. It only takes one mistake, one hair, one piece of sweat, one piece of dirt, anything. So a killer has to be absolutely perfect to get away with it. The detectives don't have to be, you know. They can miss stuff, but there might be something they find or somebody else will find it. As long as there's, like, one piece, that's it. So to me, and I believe that. I mean, I think if they put in the effort, you know, to find that, you know what I mean?
Right. You know, that's another point of Dexter not thinking. That should have been the first thing that crossed his mind. He planted that watch that her fingerprints were never going to be on it.
I was thinking of that, but you know what? He's probably so used, like, I don't think he's ever dealt with he's that detective. You know what I mean? Like, he's that person, like, that can find and notice all of these little details and stuff like that. He's never dealt with somebody like her before. And he didn't really meet her or recon or anything like that, the detective. So he probably was used to what they would normally do. And, like, you know, he did deal with it before in jokes and also to a certain extent, LaGuardia, you know, because he made a mistake there. He left that blood slide after he killed that one dude. That's how he got caught. He didn't see that. But that was also a situation where he wasn't completely in control because Deb had walked in and everything. But, you know, so he didn't know that there was going to be somebody there who wouldn't just say, it's done. It's wrapped up. I think he even said it to Harry, didn't he? He was like, they're not going to listen to, no, I think he said it to Harrison, that they're not going to go through that to listen to Batista because they wrapped up the case. And it was one murder, you know. It's not like Harrison's going around murdering a bunch of people.
Right.
So, you know.
He got the wrong two.
Huh?
He got the wrong two.
What do you mean?
You got Batista after him, and then the count is after the son.
Yeah. So he wasn't expecting that. He wasn't expecting that someone would actually look into it instead of taking the easy win. you know, and being like, we got him. Yeah, chalk up another one. Yay, point for us. You know? And so that definitely is a complication, I think.
I mean, that definitely reopens it in her mind.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, she knows that she's right.
Mm.
You know, people like that, like she might need the evidence, you know, to solidify it, but she knows she's right. Like
she won't stop.
Yeah, she's doubting a little bit here and there, but I think honestly with her, it's kind of like this thing where she's like, oh, you remember, like Death Note? Like she kind of has that kind of thing going on, you know.
Well, I'm not understanding the comparison.
It was L, right? L. Like he's got the whole, she's got the whole like, very intense detective who is never wrong. So like when L, like,
sure.
Yeah. No, for the detective in Resurrection. I was just comparing it to L in Death Note. Like how he was. With, like,
I'm
like,
sorry. You said Death Note. I thought you said Death Proof.
Oh, okay. No. Sorry. No, Death Note. So like she has this whole sort of like, because it looks like she's willing to accept that she might be wrong in this case, but she absolutely does not believe that she is wrong. And so she's kind of confused because there's never been a situation where any of the evidence would not make sense. But then Dexter came along too, and in that, like you said, in the classroom, where he couldn't resist basically being like, you don't know what the you're talking about.
Right.
You know, he was like, you don't know what those like you talking about. Like, it's not a crowbar, chickie. Okay, here you go. just a suggestion. I'm like, is that gonna come back to bite him in the ass? Because that was slick, that was cool, but like, you know, maybe not. I think
he's a blood specialist.
Yeah, he is, and he's good at what he does. I mean, unquestionably. But I think that that's going to be interesting if the show stays in New York, which I hope they do. But you know, it'll be interesting if they go other places. But I think it's going to stay in New York. And if he or like Batista or something leads them to Prater, especially if they catch him with Prater. Like if they know, they might not find out Prater is having these little serial killer get-togethers. But like if they find out they see, you know, the New York Ripper or what have you, like it's gonna look weird. Why are you hanging out with
Lady Vengeance in any way?
Yeah. It's gonna be kind of interesting how it plays out. I mean, certainly, you know, it's gonna be quite interesting. I just don't know what's gonna happen with Batista because I want them to be friends again. They need to be friends.
That friend thing is gone.
I don't know if it's gone, especially if Batista finds out the true details of what happened. Because if he knows, the only way would be a confession.
What's her name? Lady Vengeance. She's the only one that died without knowing that he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. Like he yelled it to the other ones just before.
Right. I don't know. I think you know. I think there's a possibility. You know, I don't think that they would be friends like they were, but it could be a way for them to have the relationship that I feel like a lot of fans wanted him to have with Ghost. because once Stokes found out who he was, and like the way, like that brief moment when they worked together against those swamp, killer, whatever happened, that thing there, how they worked, I guess, in that situation, and then the conversations that they had, and all of that, I think people really, and then just the kind of cat and mouse thing that they had going on. Fans really, really love that. And unfortunately, it was cut short. So this could be an opportunity for them to have that kind of thing where, it's tentative maybe at first. And he has questions about it and he's not necessarily that comfortable with it, but to see the value in it to a certain degree. But, I mean, it also makes sense if that doesn't happen. But it would be really cool if it did. So.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I wonder where they're going from here, though.
Yeah. They've always been...
They're going to keep up Original Sin.
Yeah, which, so great. I mean, Sarah Jessica... Sarah, Jessica. Sorry, I just did a whole thing with and just like that. No, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yeah, of course, Buffy. Yeah, she's coming back too. That's another topic for another time. But we're gonna get another legend back here, like I said before, because she. They did San Diego Comic-Con for Original Sin, and she was like, I can't imagine, having such an iconic character and being able to bring them back. And I was like, is that a hint? Hello, Miss Buffy, is that a hint? Are you telling us something? And then, it's coming back. It's like, oh my God.
Technically speaking, they did it once already.
Hey, I died twice.
Right.
Yeah. So let's bring her back a third time. Let's go. But yeah. So yeah, Original Sin I think is absolutely fantastic. They did such a good job, and they did such a good job with matching. Dexter up, Patrick, yeah, all of them really. It's, I mean, yeah, and like Christian Slater being in it,
those actors, their cast is putting their work in. They're showing what they can do. They're taking those roles, they're making them their own, while at the same time showing a very healthy respect to the original actors that played them.
Right.
So you still see the same character. What they're doing, how they look as younger, it's believable. Crazy. Like they're really doing a good job with it.
Yes, I'm so glad that it's successful. Like I was hoping.
Kind of got the Buffy treatment though.
What do you mean?
Like you just made me think about that. Buffy moved from what was it, CW to CW to WB? Was that it?
It's CW to UPN. I think it was UPN. I think so. I can't remember.
I thought it was WB and CW.
Well, it was WB and WB are the same thing, or were the same thing. It's just name change or company sale, but it was still the same thing. It was still Warner. But I think they moved to UPN.
Okay.
I'm checking now.
Well,
yeah. From WB to UPN.
Okay.
But yeah, what were we going to say?
Buffy got that, they got to close the show out. They got to end the show and then come back.
Yeah.
And then end the show again.
Uh-huh.
And I think that considering the fact that they're doing Dexter, in my opinion, the right way, making it a cohesive through line, full on universe story.
Yeah.
That it's giving the show a chance to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing things just different enough from show to show while not losing the overall feel of Dexter.
Exactly, yeah.
And I don't just mean the character, I mean the very foundation of the show itself. That feeling stays through all 4 shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's the feelings that surround it, the ones that come from it. Those are the ones that change as Dexter changes.
Right.
Like, I love how undone and rough and honestly kind of raw he's playing his role in Resurrection.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of back against the wall, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a way, symbolically, I mean, it's like he has to claw his way out of the grave, so to speak,
But
in a way.
he's dying.
Well, I think he's regenerated. You know, he's got to get used to all his limbs working again. He's got to get used to the new environment. So, yeah. One thing I hope though, because they renewed it already for a second and third season. I hope they go longer. I really do. And whenever it ends, I hope that it ends with, Dexter and Harrison having that happy ending. I just feel very strongly that they deserve that. I don't want to. I can't with the. I totally. I thought New Blood was very good, and I respected the choice.
Mm.
I mean, I remember Michael C. Hall was like, "Be careful what you wish for." When we were like, "Please bring it back," and then bring back the and then kill him. And people were like, "What?" I mean, you might as well just left him as the fucking lumberjack. What did you? But I was like, it can't end that way. I mean, you gotta go through the cycle, and I just feel like he, like Dexter has to have the happy ending. The walk off into the sunset, the family, like all of that, for real. Not something where it's like in his head and he's in a coma. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, none of that. Just like a genuine, happy ending,
But honestly, because of the decision, or shall I say the bad decision, that he makes where he kind of ends up painting himself into a corner.
Uh-huh.
Very, 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 very often.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is,
got to die.
It doesn't have to be Harrison. It better not be Harrison. Listen. They better not kill that man's son. Okay.
Well, I mean, you think about it. For right now,
no. I'm so obsessed.
You got the family that he's living with.
Uh-huh.
You got the 2 cops that are after Harrison.
Uh-huh.
You got Batista. Now you got the Harrison's friend from the hotel, and her son. And you've also got this new girl that he met, the sophomore at the college he's looking at. So there's a whole list of characters.
Yeah.
That could be collateral damage.
Yeah, she seems a little bit like she could be a killer.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Like, she's real charming. You know what I mean? Like, she's cool, but she's got a little some edge, But I think it's probably going to be Uma's character. I'm probably wrong, but I don't know if I have a feeling or just think it would be cool, but if she does find out who he really is, I can see them getting kind of close. And then for her character in particular, then those story rules would probably apply, and that because she's killed, her redemption would be to die in the act of doing some good deed, So it would probably be, maybe, I don't know what it could be, but I would think that maybe he gets close to her, like maybe they actually have some kind of relationship and she dies, I don't know how, but, it's maybe some sort of possibility, and maybe not like totally romantic, but they have like kind of a kindred spirit understanding of each other type of thing, and it goes awry. Yeah, she's doing a great job as well.
I can kind of see that, but I'm thinking that the type of death that I'm talking about is a more of a direct gut wrench to Dexter. Something that would leave him feeling like he was to blame, and would probably make Harrison feel like he was to blame.
I can see it being his girlfriend. The word, what's going to happen to the little kid? Oh, she's not officially his girlfriend, my bad. I keep forgetting that. Harrison?
She's the one from the hotel.
Yeah. But I can see her.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah. Which would be really sad. I hope that doesn't happen. Honestly, especially now, I love this new trend of what I'm seeing of like some aspect of these story models, rule books being thrown out wholesale. Like, because there's always been certain sort of the tried and true things that I think work story-wise and are great, and they're just always going to be legendary and great, such as the Messiah, trope and all that stuff. But I like seeing things being flipped on their head, like that movie, the one I was telling you about, Until Dawn. I think that's what it's called. Really great, actually, horror movie. And have you seen it?
They kept dying at midnight.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No.
Do you want to see it?
No, I might watch it eventually.
Do you mind if I spoil it or no? Do you like?
You don't.
Okay.
Because as soon as you do it, I'm gonna want to watch it.
Right. Okay, so we'll leave that out. But just different things that I've been seeing where they're kind of doing things a bit differently. So while yes, it might be traditional to have that lynching death and all of that stuff, I think sometimes it's better to go the opposite way. Sometimes it leaves more of a better, back to the kind of food analogy, it leaves a better mouthfeel. It leaves a more satisfying sense, because I think that as much as a good story death, character death, what have you, can make work feel very, very heavy, like very poignant and all that stuff. I think that it can also work the reverse, because it's harder to make something sometimes feel very meaningful when you don't have that to kind of fall back on. I think it's more difficult to make it feel like it has that same kind of significance, and but you can do it. You know what I mean? It is possible, and I'm not saying that let's stop like just killing characters all together or anything like that. I just mean like there's ways to do it that work, and then there's ways that it happens where it doesn't work the way that sometimes is intended, and then vice versa. you can have that happy ending and everybody's saved and nobody dies, and it has like, you know, really good meaning. And then it can also come across sometimes as like, oh, you know, kind of popcorn and stuff, and that's equally good. I mean, you know, but I don't know. I guess I'm just liking seeing how people are doing things sometimes where the characters are not dying, and that, you know, at least some of the characters, like the good characters, are not dying, and there's some sense of justice. So yeah, I think that works too. So you're probably right, though. I mean, you're probably right. I really do. But I mean, already one member of the family, she passed away. They had to wake and everything. I mean, that should be enough. Nah. That's nah. Leave it. Leave it.